Fellas, the new expansion for Legends of Runeterra has finally been unveiled, and kind of to the shock of a lot of people, we saw some redesigns for Mordekaiser and Morgana, which are very new champions. I mean, Morgana's been around since like the beginning of the game, but she got a rework, and people are kind of mixed about should these characters have been updated. But that's the thing. Legends of Runeterra has been on a spree over the past few years of redesigning all the old champions and even some new champions to bring them up to modern standards. So I have assembled all of the champions in Legends of Runeterra, not the exclusives. The exclusives don't count because they're new, so you're not gonna see Elder Dragon or Boro King or Jack on here. These are all the champions that have received some kind of visual upgrade from Legends of Runeterra, whether it's been a full redesign like Janna or very minor ones like Trundle or Quinn or like any of those kinds. Trying to include them all, see, do they improve upon the original design? Do they make the character more compelling and better encapsulate who they are supposed to be? Let's take a look at those, shall we? All right, random. All right, we're doing random. Okay. Shush. Caitlyn. Okay, I have two Caitlyn's here, so we'll include both Caitlyn's, because this Caitlyn is now what Caitlyn looks like always. And this is weird, where like this is the only version, or like the only time where a champion redesign in LoR has actually become real. And I imagine that she looks like this because that's how she was going to show up in her ASU. But there is the second version of Caitlyn, which is her level 2, where they give her like this SWAT uniform, right? Like this is her like tactical gear on the scene in the battlefield type thing. So it's weird to rank this one because this one is like, well, we have this in League now. However, I like to think that even though they came out not too far apart, that like with Jax, the League design was very much influenced. And I'm gonna say this version of Caitlyn, this is the best. This is just the best Caitlyn. It's still immediately recognizable as Caitlyn, but it's just so much better. It feels Piltovan. She doesn't have random like skimpy clothes. She still has a bunch of the random belts for some reason. Whereas the old Caitlyn was ooh. Yeah, definitely stripper Caitlyn. Yeah, I think Skyen said it best, that this is that old Caitlyn was a porn parody version of her own self. As for the SWAT Caitlyn, I like it, but I don't think it's as good as the classic look now, you know? I think it's still good though. I like that she has it. We don't get to see champions in multiple outfits very often. Usually if they get a new outfit, it's because of a redesign, right? So Nocturne. Okay, so is Nocturne an improvement? Kind of. Really, all they did to Nocturne was make him purple. There's barely any difference at all. Same proportions, same shoulder pauldrons, same weird spikes. The mouth is, I mean, not even in this one. It's only in the level 1 that the mouth looks like. This is kind of cool. I like that effect. I think it's an improvement over old Nocturne, but it's still old Nocturne. All right, well, we got the two Jannas. Okay, this has been a topic of hot debate for a while. So a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it. So where do I stand on this? I kind of love it, man. You know what I need to do actually? We're gonna add, I'm not gonna put her in this. We're gonna add an S+. I don't think she goes in S+ though. I think she goes in S. So you know why she's not an S+? Because this is great. I love what they did with her hair, that they made her actually look like a Shuriman. There is zero Zon on this. Nothing. She looks more Shuriman than Zon because she's from Shurima. If you fellas who don't know, Janna is from Shurima. That's her place of origin. So I don't expect her to look like Chemtech stuff, right? But I think there should be some semblance of Zon on her design somewhere. Even like a trinket that some kid in Zon gave to her to hold on to it, you know? Like, give her a connection to Zon somehow, because that's where she is all the time right now, right? She looks entirely like a Shuriman character, which I like, but the complete disconnect from Zon prevents me from making it an S+. But it's still an S. Fantastic, especially if you compare it to the old model. This is better though? What? No. And now, Janna level 2, huh? So obviously I like it. So this is like her true form, because she is a Shuriman spirit god of the wind, so she wouldn't look human. Too much Kale. I can see why people would confuse it with Kale with all the wings and stuff. I really, really like though how the hair turned into like a little mini tornado. I think that's awesome, and the staff turned to the parts of her, like the wings on her side and the little like, I think it's really sick. I don't think it's S+. I think it's really cool. I'd rank both of them in S, I think. I like them more than Caitlyn. I think they're both great. Riven. Okay. So Riven got her redesign. I don't remember if Legend of Runeterra came first or if it was the Awakened cinematic, because this is a very minor upgrade in terms of like compared to other champions. They did give her a bit of muscle, at least, you know. They gave her a little bit, and I really like the eyeshadow. I think the eyeshadow adds a lot. I like that she has more kind of down-to-earth, very unimposing clothes because she's trying to live like a normal life on the run, so she wouldn't have very, you know, eccentric clothing. So I like this. I think it's good. She also has a bit of the Noxian stuff. It's like she has a little bit of Noxian armor, so you can tell that she's from Noxus. Black corset, though. Yeah, it's a little... that's a little strange. I think it's fine. I don't think it's amazing. It's a very minor change from Classic Riven. I think that's a B. I definitely prefer it over the original. I think that's an important part when we're ranking these. Is like, are these preferred over the original as well? Kennen. Okay, this one kind of doesn't count because LoR didn't make this redesign. This redesign was made for the Awakened cinematic, and LoR just used it. The thing that infuriates me about this one is because they keep using this design in everything except League. It looks more like a Yordle. For the people who think that it doesn't look the same, or that it looks the same, let's grab Kennen's original model for comparison. So you can see the differences, mostly with the addition of the blacks, right? The blacks help a lot. I love the actual bandaged ears. It's so much better. And like the little armor plating, it's like he looks like a ninja. This looks like pajamas. He looks good. I'd say that's a B. Lower than Riven? I'd say they're about on equal footing, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, well, we got to include both of them. We got the Seraphine, because I included the both because they are different designs of each of them. Firstly, this is wonderful, of course. This is great. But right off the gate, I'm going to say it.
I don't care that you broke your elbow.
This is an S+ for me. I really like this redesign. This one is. The level 2 is the S+. You know why? Because if this was the design that was in League of Legends, it wouldn't work. Because she doesn't look like she looks like a pop star kind of in retirement in this. Whereas this still, like, that's Seraphine, but it looks Piltover. This feels too much Piltover, but that's because she's on her downtime. She's not performing. She has the streaks, like her hair dye is running out. So this version feels like, oh, this is the one she'd actually have on stage, and you could realistically replace the League design with this, whereas you couldn't do that with this one. But this is a really nice alternative take of what she looks like when she's not performing, and I really, really like that. And this one's just awesome. Really like what they did with this. Still looks very pop starish and outlandish, but looks Piltover, you know? Kaisa, okay. So I think people forget that this actually is a redesign, and you probably don't realize that because her level 1 is exactly the same. It's her, but the reason I had the icon as level 2, because her level 2 does change some things up, and it's easier to see in the concept art. Look at that. A lot more creepy looking, like all the weird void tendrils and stuff, the giant pauldrons, making her look a lot more bony, the clawed feet, make her look a lot more monstrous. You know what it's missing though? It's missing the mask so badly. The thing is, the reason I like this design a lot is because, like, you can see it especially on her arms, that her arms look unnatural. Like the suit is pulling apart her own body, right? Like look at her legs as well. Her actual body is fused to this suit. It's not just a skin suit she's wearing on top of herself, right? It becomes a lot more believable that her and the suit are one. That's pretty sick. So for me, Kaisa, that's an A. I think they did a good job. So Kayn. This is a weird one because up till now, except Seraphine. Seraphine's the exception, but all these champions are pretty old. So it was really weird that Kayn got a redesign. And let me grab the concept art. What did they do? They changed how the void, how the darkened corruption looks. The darkened corruption arm is far less clean. Lee Kayn is like, the corruption's a lot cleaner looking, very clear where it ends and where it starts. Whereas here it kind of bleeds into him a lot more. And I really like that. I like the robe as well. I think the robe helps a lot. I like it more than just like the really big baggy pants. But the eye, man, I'm not a fan of removing the half demon eye and having two glowing orange eyes. I'm not a fan of that. There's parts about that I like and parts that I don't. I think it's a B. I think there's some good parts. I don't think Kayn really needed a redesign. per se, but it's fine. It's to have their own interpretation of it. I think it's fine. Big Malphite, big rock. So what did they do to Malphite? In all fairness, this Malphite redesign is just the same one they've been using in everything else. This is the same Wild Rift design in the chibi little legend and all his icons, the same one they've been using. And they make him look properly titanic, right? Yeah, they make him look enormous. And obviously they changed his personality a lot and they gave him Chip, which is amazing. And Malphite is very simple but has his charm to it. But realistically, and speaking like in terms of beyond how much I love Malphite from a personal spot, I think it's just a C, because it doesn't really fix any of Malphite's fundamental problem. There's nothing Ishtal about him. He is still just a big rock monster. He's very simple. You know, I ranked Kennen in similar vein. You know, I'll put him up here. I'll put him with Kennen. I'll put him in B. Annie. Okay. The child. Destroy it. Burn it. So there's the level 1, level 2. I could have included these as separate, but they're so minor in their differences. This is mostly just her. She's got like raggedy clothes because she's been out in the wild for a while. This one, they just tried to make her more like she belongs in Noxus. They gave her some more Noxian garb. They muted her colors a lot, right? Like they muted the color of her dress and her socks, gave her actual boots as well. Make her horns look more like devil horns than cat ears. It's a minor redesign. Yeah, I'd say that's an improvement. So this is definitely a good upgrade. Very much like it. It does keep everything, like it's immediately recognizable as Annie. I'd say, yeah, I hesitate to put this in S. I think it's a top A, though. It's a solid A, yeah. Okay, this is cheating, because for the fellows who aren't aware, in Legends of Runeterra, Sentinel Vayne is default Vayne. This is not a skin. This is just how she looks. And the reason that is because LoR being canon, because after the events of Sentinels of Light, Vayne remained a Sentinel. So this is just how she canonically looks now. She's still a Sentinel. It's cheating, but I'm gonna give it... I'll give it an A. Yeah, I'll give it an A. It's low A. Low A for me, because I think it is a substantial improvement over... I think people forget how bad... What is this, man? I don't know what they were thinking of this. She's like supposed to be Blade, Batman. I don't even know. Like you look at this and like, what am I looking at? Yeah, old Vayne is really, really bad. Big Bonkus LeBlancus. Okay. So on a surface level, it doesn't look that different, right? LeBlanc is one of the worst looking models in the whole game. Look, what is this? For the rework LeBlanc, what did they change? Well, they gave her the cool hair streaks. Like they gave her a bit of color in her hair. Her crest is actually part of the Noxian insignia. And I'm pretty sure this part of the crest is for Guile. So it's like, because I think people forget about that. Like each part of the Noxian crest represents each different aspect of strength. You have Guile, Vision, and Might, right? So you have the Guile portion of the Noxian insignia on her crest. And this is actually where I got of inspiration for my Cassiopeia redesigns. I kind of like the idea of having some of the Noxian insignia on the headdress. I like, she still has all the fancy ornaments. She still has a lot of revealing skin, so it still looks like LeBlanc. So I like it. I don't love it though. I think, again, it's important to compare how awful the old LeBlanc is. So comparing how awful the old version is, I think it's an A. I think compared to the original, it is a huge improvement, but I couldn't put it in S. So Xerath. I have very mixed feelings about the Xerath redesign. Comparing to the old Xerath, yeah, it is a big improvement. Let's, you know, for sure. There are some parts about it that made him look more like a coffin, right? Like, obviously the headpiece, it's not a coffin, he's supposed to look like a sarcophagus. So his face looks a lot more like the centerpiece of a sarcophagus. I love the golden ornaments. The fact that they got rid of his legs, I think is like, why would Xerath need legs? They made him very chunky as well, which helps make him look a lot larger and more imposing. And like, this does not look intimidating at all, because Xerath is supposed to be like one of the final bosses of Shurima. So making him look a lot larger and more imposing is a lot better. The thing is, it's kind of been like a weird thing with Xerath's design, is because Xerath is supposed to be a coffin bound together by the energy of himself. So he can't break free of this coffin, but it's kind of broken apart to form this kind of weird body, right? I think the new Xerath, weirdly enough, makes it look too much like armor. They gave him actual full-on gauntlets. Like, actual gauntlets. It's like Kane. There's some stuff that I like about it, and it's definitely an improvement on the original, but I'd put it with Kane, probably. They're like on the same level to me. It's like they're There's some good changes and some kind of changes that I don't know about that. Oh boy. All right, here we go. This one has been a very hot topic of debate over the last little bit. Big Morty got a redesign, and a lot of people are very upset about it. So we got Blue de Kaiser. A lot of people really like it, and a lot of people really don't like it. So I think the reason why people are upset that Mordekaiser got a redesign is because Mordekaiser is very new. Mordekaiser came out like 3.5 years ago now, man. Jesus Christ. The rework anyway. So Mordekaiser's design is very new. So people weren't expecting him to get a redesign, and then he did. And not only is it a redesign, it's not a minor one like Kennen or like Malphite. Like, this is a full makeover. Color scheme changed, the way his armor function has changed, the helmet's changed, the mace changed, like everything changed. This is a full-on redesign in every capacity. So here's the thing that I think was lost the most on this redesign. And I think I know why, because we've seen with Legend of Runeterra that they move away from anything related to bones or skeletal structures or anything. I think the thing that was lost the most was this chest area here. I adored how the chest area in the original Splasher made it look like his rib cage. So it looks like a living armor, like his bones have become the armor. That is such a cool visual signifier that like the armor is the guy, even though he's technically the spirit inside the armor. So I think losing that in the redesign, to me, is the most criminal thing that was lost. The helmet as well. I think Necrit talked about this as well, that like the 2 extra little horns are kind of unnecessary, and the closed helmet did a lot more, I think. The closed helmet really gave you that idea, like, I can only see the eyes. He looks a lot less scary like this, right? Like the open mask, the giant eye holes, the fact that there's like, it's floating. It looks a lot less scary. The stuff I do like, though, one, I love the big red banners on the front. I like that they're on the back as well, but having them on the front, immediately like, oh, why is there red? Because he's Noxian. Because he founded Noxus, basically. I love that the armor looks very Noxian now, right? Like, this looks so like it screams Noxus. And that's also why, probably heresy for a lot of people, I like Blue de Kaiser. Huh? I think it works. Not only do I like it better, it looks better than green in my opinion, but it helps to, you know, shift him away from Shadow Isles. I like it. I think it's an A. I wouldn't put it an S, but I think it's an A. I think it's a cool alternate version of Mordekaiser. Well, for me personally, this is the easiest S+. Easiest S+ of the whole list. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, not only does this, you know, it looks awesome, right? Whew. Yeah, old Zillion's kind of hideous. Elfman, the weird blue hair, the giant clock on his back. So this version of Zillion, you know what's actually my favorite thing about this that I really like? Not only just because the beard, the nice bright white beard, that they made him actually look like a really old man, all the pendants and robes. I love that his beard is so long, it's like being tucked into his robe to act as like a pseudo, like extra part of his robe. Badass wizard. And they replace his clock with all the mini sun discs and sundials. So good. Okay, we're gonna grab both of them because we're gonna count base Nidalee and her Paka form separately. I didn't even need to think about it. That's an S+ right there. Fantastic. Let's grab the League of Legends model. Yeah. It is piggybacking on some very old racial stereotypes. Not the best. So they made her a lot more... First of all, they gave her abs. They gave her abs. I like that they gave her the actual animalistic parts, like the stuff on her legs and the ears, so it feels more believable that she can go between this animal form and this human-y form. The big, fluffy clothing, the spear made out of twigs and vines and stuff. The tattoos as well. Even her, like, the really long clawed fingers, like, really, really good. And then we have the Paka form, of course, as well. I really love this, and I love what they did with Nidalee. But you know what Nidalee does to me? It makes me really, really sad, because these amazing redesigns were unveiled, like, literally like a month or two after Nidalee got a voice line update. So the amount of time we're gonna be waiting for these to be added to League. Oh, it's gonna be so long. Okay, Shyvana. So Shyvana got a very minor design upgrade. Very minor. I think the LOR version actually removed the heels. It's not quite the Wild Rift design. Like, they made her even more skinny, but they made her scales a lot more pronounced. Like, the Wild Rift version, the scales are much smoother, right? It looks more like human skin, whereas this, they really went ham on the draconic scales aspect of her. They didn't give her heels like they do in Wild Rift, but Wild Rift gave her heels. This one, she just has actual, like, dragon feet, big clawed hands, instead of leaving it to the her gauntlets to do that work for her. It's better than her League version, but only slightly, and they didn't change the dragon form at all. For me, that's a C. Oh boy, okay, here's another one. Another one of the new ones, Morgana. And these two, again, I'm counting as two separate ones because we have the level 1 is very different from the level 2. They are both completely different designs here, and I'm gonna put them in the list immediately before I say what I mean by it. I think this goes up here, and this goes down here. You know what? No, she goes down here. I think that the level 2 actually removes some of the good stuff about Classic Morgana. The level 1, though, this is everything I wanted Morgana to be. Everything. It's so perfect. I love, like, the bird cloak, the ravens, the more down-to-earth clothing where she doesn't look like she's trying to be of this really high importance, but still has Targonian aspects to her. And, like, the kind of dour fate, like, it's so good. I don't love this one, though. And you know why? Because it makes her look more like Kale. So yeah, they gave her the bodysuit. They removed any semblance of her gown at all. Where did her third pair of wings go? So it's like, yeah, she's tapping into her divinity. Sure, like, she's unleashing her power, but one, it doesn't really look like that. And I get maybe she's trying to, like, she'd look more like Kale if she's unleashing her power. I get that. I don't like it. Well, that's another one. That's an easy S. I think I've talked about this version of Master Yi 1,000 times, but god damn! And let's get the old version for comparison. Master Yi in League of Legends is a weird case because Master Yi's model doesn't look bad. He's decently animated, he moves okay, he doesn't look like he's made out of a bunch of polygons. It's his design that's abhorrent. Yeah, like, what are these sword boots? What is this? The sci-fi? How would anyone be able to tell this guy was from Ionia? There's nothing Ionian about this at all. Along comes Legend of Return, and finally we get, like, a proper reveal of his face. And this is a point of content I've had. Like, I don't mind characters being attractive. The problem is with attractive characters, usually they all give them the exact same face. Like, with the ladies, they all look like Ashe, and with the men, they all look like Kayn. So I love that they gave Yi, he has an attractive face, but it's different. He's got a different looking face. I think that's great. I can't believe they made such an amazing redesign for Master Yi. This one and these, like, Nidalee and Master Yi might have the biggest design changes out of any champion. You know, maybe we skip ahead. Maybe we just go to Jax, because he's like a bit of a weird topic of debate. We have confirmation that LOR Jax was the inspiration for the Jax ASU. So we know that this was a primary source of inspiration for what Jax looked like when he got his big VGU. We have LOR Jax, and we have ASU Jax. And obviously there was a lot of inspiration taken, but it's not a one-to-one recreation. So, comparing the two, for me, personally, and this kind of sounds heresy, I like the League one better. You what? I think the LOR one works in terms of storytelling. You know why? Because Jax is a very humble guy who's just going around the world beating monsters and trying to assemble a crew. Jax looks very decorative here, right? LOR looks more heroic. All these gold ornaments and armor pieces and bandages and cloths and things. Looks very decorative, very high status, like ready for a big battle, right? League Jax looks a lot more down to earth, right? A lot more baggy clothes, no gold ornaments at all besides the mask. Missing a lot of clothes in a lot of parts. Looks a lot more, you know, like a voyager, like a guy traveling the world. I think this works for Jax as he is right now. I like this idea for Jax. This is him at the end of his journey. This is after he's assembled a big crew, a big army to fight back the Void, and they've helped him armor up for battle. And I love that, again, that LoR influenced the design for League, so I have to give it an S. Because, I mean, that's just awesome on its own. So I think both designs have their merit, but League Jax works better for who he is as a character right now. Rumble. So Rumble's weird because Rumble himself, it was his mech. Like, his level 1 is still the same old clunky, weird looking mech it always was. Level 2 is like big, badass mech. So this is supposed to be Rumble upgraded, right? His big, prize-winning mech, and I like it. For me, it's a C. For me, it's not what I was personally hoping they would do with Rumble. For me, the big reason of that for me, it's kind of a weird nitpick. It looks too clean. It looks like a professional, high-quality mech. Everything looks proper and in order. This one is like kind of too like messy. But so my thought process for Rumble is they would do something along these lines. So in Warhammer, the orcs have all these insane, crazy machines and machinations, but they're not good at making them work. Like, they would never work. They don't work at all. They're just a bunch of scrap and junk. It only works because the orcs are magical or something. Everything they make works because they believe it works. They make a spaceship and they believe that it can bring them to space and it works. I would love if that's how Yordle magic work when they make these mechs, because Rumble is all about trash and garbage. That would give him a reason to value the trash and garbage, because he can make anything out of anything. He can take a bunch of scrap, throw it in a pile, and believe it's a mech, and there you go. It's a mech. Luxana Crown Guard. All right. This one's been in the game since the start, and it was a very minor redesign. To me, this is my favorite version of Lux. This is easily my favorite version. It's very, very minor changes, but it's so much better than the original. It's very subtle. So let me grab a comparison for you fellas so you can see the differences. Fellas, for the people saying D, would you really? Would you really? After looking at that, would you really? Come on now. Really? This is a D level upgrade? No, this is not Nocturne level, guys. Come on. And like the Wild Rift one, this is just the League one, but HD, really. I think the LoR version is the best version we have. Very similar to Lux, but no random boob plate anymore that looks dumb as hell. I love the little wing tufts. I really like it. So for me, but it's not like, you know, a huge upgrade, but I think it's really solid. I put that at like high B or low A, actually. I'll put her bottom of A. Quinn. Who even remembers that Quinn is in Legends of Runeterra? I know I forgot. I tried to look up Quinn model. I think I'm missing something here. I think I gotta specify League of Legends. This is a good comparison, because I think you'll forget that this actually is an upgrade. Some minor things, but definitely better. Definitely better looking. She's seen some horrors from the beyond, I think. Her crossbow looks like just a bird. Yeah, so the redesign definitely leaned more into making her look more like a proper Demacian, like actual Demacian attire. Not the weird cloak, it's more of a cape now. Actual crown, crossbow looks better. I like kind of like the talon almost on her boots. I really like that. A lot slimmed down. No more random browns where they don't need to be. It's more like the actual dark blues and grays that Demacian. She looks like a Demacian scout now instead of just this weird jumbled mess of schlock that this is. And Valor looks like Valor still. I like it. I don't think it's an amazing redesign, but it works really well. You know what it is? I'll put her in B because I think there are some of the other Demacian scouts that look a lot better. Soraka. Okay, this one's a very minor change. Cloth, more raggedy, and they gave her little Taric protector gems. That's kind of it. I like that they made her look a bit older. I like the idea of her being more like a motherly figure. They went backwards a bit. And I say that because this was the Wild Rift design revealed only a little bit before this. And I think Wild Rift, it fixed a lot of things. I think the Wild Rift design is the better of the one we had, though they made her look really young. So for me, Soraka, I think the only substantially good thing that Soraka did in LoR was add the little gems that like a gift from Taric, but I think that's a D. Okay, this is a weird one because I don't think people remember that Asol did get a redesign. He did. And it's not what you think. It's just his shape, because he's long now. He a long boy now. They're trying to lean more into the Eastern style mythology of dragons, right? And I think with the cosmic space dragons, they were leaning into more of that aesthetic. So the dragons in Demacia and the drakes are more Western focused, while the cosmic ones are more Eastern focused, which I like that because Western dragons are more associated with kind of primal nature, like beasts to be hunted down, whereas Eastern is more like divine beings or beings that will bring upon good fortune. Though I don't think Asol is really interested in bringing good fortune to anybody, but you know. The thing is about this would never work in League of Legends. It's way too long. Hitbox would be atrocious, so I understand why they couldn't do this. However, for me, this is how Asol should look. Not you, Caitlin. I think this is how Asol should look all the time. Trundle. Okay. Trundle, very minor changes. They did make him a lot bulkier, it's true. I do think it is better than our classic. They also gave him a little crown. It's not a very big or imposing crown, but it's a little bit of a crown. They changed up his fur. They made him show more of his chest, which is kind of weird, but they made his armor look pretty similar. Very similar to the original, just with minor changes. They made him look less goofy, though. You notice that? He looks like his face looks a lot more serious. He looks more like an one of the orcs from Warcraft. Let's get old Trundle, shall we? Ooh. But you know why this Trundle redesign is a D? Actually, is it a D? I don't know. It's a D or a C. What did they do to his schnoz? What is that? Why'd they make it so pointy? They made his nose so small. Look how big that nose is. Enormous nose. And then they shrunk it. I don't think I put it in D because there are things that I like about it. I think it's bottom of C though. Ahri. I think Ahri has had more different designs than any other champion in League, right? She's had so many. It ain't Ruin King. See, that's the thing. Right. That right there, that's peak Ahri, dude. That is peak Ahri. The way that I feel about LoR Ahri is she feels like she has the cloak from Ruin King, which I think is really funny. She feels like it's not exactly the default one that we have in League, right? It's like a weird middle ground. It's kind of got aspects of Feral Ruin King Ahri, but more sophisticated ASU Ahri. And I kind of like it for that. For me, I wouldn't put that in C. It's like a B one. It's like, it's fine. It's an alternate take that doesn't do a lot for her. So Udyr is a strange one because this was revealed to us before his VGU was, right? So everyone was kind of confused, like, whoa. Is this what he's gonna look like? And kind of is. So the idea is that we gotta compare old Udyr. I don't think that's fair because now we have, there's old Udyr. Look at that guy. So we have the main comparison is between LoR Udyr and League Udyr. And I think context is important for these because LoR Udyr is supposed to be Udyr right as he's returned to the Freljord, right? He has just gone through the meditation of being in Ionia and being with Lee Sin, and now he's back. League Udyr is him a good while after he's returned, and he's kind of returning to his old ways. So you can see, this one's got a lot more clothes on, a lot more armor. You know, he looks a lot more in control of himself. And then this version is him, he's like starting to lose control again. I think LoR Udyr, like Jax, is weird, where it's like, it's a different point in his story. Whereas Jax was like, this is him at the end of his story. This is kind of Udyr in the middle. And to that, I think it's great. I'll put them together. I think it's great. And we get to the last one, which is Ziggs, which, what a weird one to end on because this is like barely anything. From first glance, it doesn't even look like they changed anything, which, I mean, if you look at his model, you can see that they changed very small things. It's mostly just the color scheme. They changed the design of the helmet a little bit, his chest piece a little bit, but overall, very, very slight changes. I do think that the orange works a lot better. Like the red, orange, and gray works a lot better than just this red and blue and gray. It's still exactly Ziggs, so for me that's like a C. It's like Trundle, so it's more like just minor design upgrades. You know, I'll put it in B because I don't really have like a lot of problems with it. I think it's fine. In final closing thoughts, obviously the LoR redesigns are fantastic. I really hope that Jax is a sign of good things to come, that Jax will serve as a template that LoR can set the groundwork for ASUs and VGUs in the future. So if we get ASUs or VGUs for champions like Janna or Zillion or Nidalee or Master Yi or any champions like that who are in desperate need of a redesign, then LoR can help set the groundwork for that first. Get a solid design out there so the big part of the work for the league team is off the table immediately. That's all I have to say. Hopefully, do you fellas agree with me? Or there's some things, some placements here you think, you know, maybe you think Mordekaiser sucks now or something, or you like the Mordekaiser, but let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you fellas next time.